first Enoch is a massive piece of literature, and it's actually composed of several different books within Enoch. The first of which will be what we call the Book of the Watchers. It's the first 36 chapters of First Enoch. It's probably the most interesting for folks if they're interested in all the supernatural stuff. This is probably where you'd want to go initially, at least. And so, in terms of the date of First Enoch, I think best guesses are 150 to 200 BC. Different parts are different, written at different times by different groups or whatever. But what we have today is collectively known as one Enoch. And so you're correct in the Book of the Watchers, the first 36 chapters. You get this extended commentary, is how I would call it, on the Genesis 6 story. Now, the Genesis 6 story of the sons of God leaving heaven and lusting after the women and procreating with them, that's a very important passage in Genesis. Well, Enoch is going to take that and provide extensive commentary on it. And in that commentary is very interesting because a lot of Christians are going to say, well, we don't need Enoch, right? We don't even need to know anything about Enoch. And again, going back to what we said earlier, I agree you don't need Enoch for like the gospel. You don't need Enoch in that sense, right? But actually, Enoch does prove to be very important to understand precisely because once you jump to the New Testament, there are things in the New Testament, primarily I would say in First Peter and in the Book of Jude. Jude actually quotes from Enoch, right? Very explicitly. Right. Yeah. And so you have the Book of Jude, at least the author of Jude had a high view of Enoch, and he's a faithful Christian. And so the same goes for First Peter. I think a case can be made that some things that Peter says really don't make a lot of sense unless you have the worldview of Enoch. And we could talk about that if you want,
sure,
but that's a general sort of introduction to how I would understand it.